Hey guys, this is the Mora Garberg. I got this knife as a Christmas present a couple of days ago and I have been playing with it ever since. Now I didn't cut any wood with it yet. I did cut a few pieces of paper, some cardboard, and a bit of food. But because I know that I'm not going to get to test and review this knife anytime soon, I said why not make a first impressions video about it. Because let's face it, this is a very expensive Mora knife. A couple of years ago, I bought myself the Bushcraft Black. I work with it, I like it, it's a good knife, but I came to the conclusion that 55 euros is just too much for a Mora, because everything I got out of the Bushcraft Black, I could easily get out of the Robust. All these blades right here have a 3.2 millimeter thick spine. That's something to mention, because usually Moras will have a 2.5 millimeter thick spine, which makes them great slicers. But these knives are obviously meant for harder tasks. And here comes the Garberg. A friend of mine told me that he thought that the Robust was not a good survival knife because it's not full tang. And it was at that point when I made my survival knife Mora video, where I tried to break the Robust. I couldn't. This is the Robust that was featured in that video. It's been with me before that video and until now, a great working knife. And if you can see, I do have some rust spots here because, well, I use it, but I don't take care of it. It takes more than a couple of hours for a knife to rust, a carbon steel knife to rust. However, you don't have to worry about that with the Garberg because this one is made out of a stainless steel. Up until this point, Mora used to use 12C27. This one is made out of 14C28N, which is supposed to be even more rust resistant. We'll get to that a bit later. Right now, the sheath system. You have the option of getting this with a leather sheath or with a multi-mount system. This one came with the multi-mount system, and I think somebody put a lot of thought in this system because I love it. Of course, leather sheath will always be a bit more stylish. However, this is not half bad, and for versatility, hard to beat. You can put this on the strap of your backpack, upside down or regular, and if you put it upside down, you will notice that this safety retention strap is a very welcome addition. Even though the knife will not come out of the sheath very easily unless you actually pull it out. Better safe than sorry is what I always say. Now, you can mount this on your backpack, on your belt horizontally, on your vehicle, and if you decide not to use the multi-mount system, you also get this nice belt loop which lets you carry the knife on your belt. And at this point, I really don't think you need the extra safety. Now, first day I got it, I put the multi-mount system on, and after putting the knife in the sheath a couple of times, taking it out, I noticed two marks right here. These were from the pommel because these edges were left sharp. First of all, I don't know why you need this protrusion right here. I have it in my F1, never used it. Okay, you have it, but if you have it, please make sure that it doesn't bother you. This would be my request for Mora. So I took a small diamond stone and made them smooth so they don't end up chewing through my safety strap right here. As I said, retention, very good. No problem there. Pulled out the knife. First thing I noticed, lanyard hole. Welcome addition. Why? Because this is a heavier Mora. It's a full tang Mora. It gives you a bit of weight. And whenever I have a knife that has a bit of extra weight, about a 4.5, 5-inch blade, I like to use it as a small chopper. Sometimes it does make your life easier. I'm not saying that a 4-inch blade knife is a good chopper, but sometimes it can make your life easier. At that point, you can put a pinky lanyard through here and remove some small limbs or something without having to run the risk of the knife flying away from you. So up to this point, everything is fine, and I like the fact that it has a plastic handle. Now, those of you who know the Outdoor 2000 model realize that probably the inspiration for the Mora Garberg came from this knife. And although this handle feels much more comfortable in hand, it is rubber, even when it's cold, wet, dry, humid, this is going to sit very well in your hand. Personally, I like Mora's plastic handles. If you hit this with a baton, you'll see some scuff marks. However, I've hit the end of this handle with the baton plenty of times, and it still looks good. And it's from a practical point of view that I prefer plastic handles. They're forever. Wood looks great. Micarta is awesome. Plastic is cheap and, like I said, forever. So I do enjoy the handle. I wish for a bit more girth here. Only the 700 series from Mora's have it. I like those, but I don't think this is going to be any more uncomfortable in hand than other Moras. So all fine up to here. And then I saw the spine squared off, nice 90-degree edge angle here. Great for scraping a ferro rod. And before I rounded off the pommel here, this was also good for scraping off a ferro rod. But I just don't want sharp edges near my hand or the retention strap. So yes, the squared off spine, welcome addition. I always had to do that for some of my other knives, and because I'm lazy, I only did the tip. This was easier to do, and I tend to use the tip when scraping a ferro rod. Here, you don't have to, because they already did it for you. Now, if you're going to look at this blade, you will very quickly realize this is not a bushcraft style blade. This, I would call it a more general utility hunting style blade. Mora has a blade they sell, the Hunter, and that one looks like it. This hump right here goes down, big belly, sort of like the Outdoor 2000, which is a great knife. I've worked with this knife a lot, as you can see. I like it, but it doesn't have the best of tips for bushcrafting. Unlike the Robust for 15 bucks. Great tip for bushcrafting. Now, if you're looking for a bushcraft knife, this is the one for you. 510 black, great tip for bushcrafting. 2mm thick blade. Hard to beat when it comes to performance. This one, in my opinion, more of a general task hunting style blade. The fact that it has a stainless steel blade, I think that's a big plus. I like carbon steel blades, and they are not as difficult to keep from rusting as some people might say. However, it is nice to have a stainless steel blade paired up with a plastic sheath, because you can put this knife bloody or greasy or dirty or wet inside this sheath, and 2 days later take it out, wash it. You probably might have some spots on it, but it will not rust. And that is the advantage of stainless steel. And when it comes to Mora, really, I never complained about their stainless steel. I think their carbon steel knives are great, and their stainless steel knives are great. The heat treatment they put those blades through is really very good. My problem with this blade, however, is not so much the tip, and not so much the fact that they left this portion unsharpened, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because in the Outdoor 2000, they had the blade go all the way back in the handle, which was a good idea. You didn't need to choke up on the blade so much to be able to work your feather sticks. But like I said, that is also not my problem with this blade. My problem is the fact that they have a secondary bevel on it. And the old Moras that I used to buy, this Robust, this 510, this Outdoor 2000, did not have a secondary bevel. Some do. I have recently purchased a companion as a gift for somebody, and I noticed it had a secondary bevel. And that raises a few questions for me. Number one, why the secondary bevel? What was so wrong with that nice zero ground Scandi, as people call it? Nothing in my opinion. But this being a new steel, a new type of blade, what I think the reason was, it was YouTube. I think this knife is aimed towards survival, tactical community of YouTube. And they said, let's put a secondary bevel there to make the edge more resistant, less prone to chipping or bending, so that people won't complain. And that's not a problem. It can be fixed. However, my question is, will it be just as good as their 12C27? Time will tell. I hope. I have actually no reason to doubt the fact that this will behave just as well as any other Mora knife, and I hope it will. I'll try to test it, film as much as possible, and then tell you my thoughts about it. And so far, Mora has not disappointed me. The Bushcraft Black, yes, a bit pricey. It can easily be replaced by the much cheaper Robust, which can do the same jobs that the Bushcraft Black can do, sometimes even better. This is a stainless steel full tang Mora with a very well thought out sheath system. And like I said, I have no reason to doubt the fact that it's gonna perform very well. I just wish that they would have done this for me at the factory. Make this a zero ground Scandi edge and sharpen the blade all the way into the handle, round off the pommel, and let's see what else we can find. Don't get the wrong impression here. I am not hating this knife. I'm actually loving this knife. I am very happy about it. I cannot wait to have the time to test it. I haven't been this happy for a knife since, well, I don't know, my last custom knife, which I waited for a long time. So, still, very happy about it. Can't wait to test it. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, questions about the Mora Garberg and future tests, just post them in the comment section. I hope you like the video. Maybe you found out something that you didn't know. I'd like to thank you for watching, guys, and as always, I wish you all a great day.